So guys, let's start creating our project. So as discussed earlier, we have these two tables, employee table and the location table. Let's have a view of those two tables. So guys, I will be using MySQL Workbench in this application. So let's have a look into the table first. I'm already having those two tables in a static tables schema, the employee table and the location table. You can take any schema from here and start working on it. My table is already created here. This is the employee table, have a look at it. And this is my location table. In this demo, I will be creating one more schema here and I will be moving the tables of this schema to this schema. So let's start working with it. The first thing first, we will create a Spring Boot project first. So let's go to our STS, or you can have Eclipse or anything. You can go to STS and you can start creating a project. So for a Spring Boot project, you need to go to new and click on Spring Starter project. So this will create a Spring Boot project. The name of project is Static Table Migration 2. I already have one. Okay, 2 I will give 2. Let's keep a group name and the package name, and a description you can give any. Select MySQL, JPA and web and search from here, and you can just select all those things whatever required for your project. For now we have these 3 dependencies that we need, and we will just click finish. So it will create a new project, Static Table Migration 2. If you are doing it for the first time, it may take some time for downloading all the contents. Your internet should be active while creating the Spring Boot application, and when you create the Spring Boot application, this boot will be written here. That means that it is a Spring Boot application. Let's close this project first. So now our project is ready for working. This is the package structure we will get after creating a Spring Boot project. Let's have a look into our form.xml. So let's have a look at it, what all things are already imported. Basically artifact ID is our project name. We have got a Spring Boot starter JPA, starter web and MySQL connector.java, and test will be imported by default. So these all things are in our form.xml. Now we have also got one more default Java class that is created by default while we are creating a Spring Boot project. Now let's start working from here. So the first thing which should come to your mind before starting this, that we have to move these table contents to another schema. So we should go step by step. Let's take an employee table. So the thought which should come to your mind, like we have to create an employee entity class in our project. So let's create an entity class in our project. Let's see all the fields first. So for employee table, these are the fields. Table name is employee, employee ID, first name, last name and salary. So all these fields we have to create an entity class. So let's create an entity class. For that we need to create a package, and you can give any name to this package. For the good naming practice, we should give it entity or model. Click on finish. Now in this package we should create a class, and that class will be our employee class. We have got an employee class, and what are all the fields that should be available in the employee class? So these are the fields: employee ID. You should always name the fields in the standard naming convention. First letter of any variable should be small letters and the next one should be caps 1. So this is an integer. First name is varchar, then float. So we have defined all these fields, and this is an entity class. We should make it as an entity. So an entity is nothing but a representation of a table. So if you have a table, you should make it as an entity. The next thing is, if we don't give any name to our table, then the default table name will be employee. Whatever the class name is there, that table name will be employee. But we want to give our table name here. Better to copy in the table name from here. Also, our primary key is employee ID. So primary key must be denoted with @ID. Column name also must be given. Now keep the column names corresponding to your fields. The first name, now what we need to create a setters and getters. Right click here and go to source and generate getters and setters. Select all the fields and generate it. So we have got the getters and setters. This is nothing but just comments. So we are done making the entity class. For using this entity class, we must have a repository. So when we call this entity from somewhere, it won't give us anything unless we make a repository out of it. So for that, let's make up next package, and let's say it repository. So in this repository, what we are going to do, we are going to create an interface. You can give any name to the interface. Here we will give the employee repository. So we have got our employee repository. So as this is a repository, we have to mention this as a repository. And this repository must extend JP repository. In the JP repository will take two parameters. That parameter should be your entity class. So our entity class is employee.java. So employee we will import it here. And what is the primary key in the employee class? Primary key in the employee class is employee ID, which is of the type integer. So we will copy this and we will give the ID as integer. And that's it, you are done with your interface employee repository. Whatever the methods that are available in our JP repository will be directly available to our employee repository. We will make use of it to perform any transaction related operations from the database. Now we can call this repository from somewhere. Let's say we will create a service class which will be doing the calling things. Let's create a package where we will write our service. In this service package, let's create a class and name it as employee service. So this is a service class. Let's annotate it with the service annotation. And in this service class, let's create a method which will return all the fields from the employee class. So let's define a method here, and this list will contain employees. We have named it get all employees. In this method, we want to fetch the list of all the employees. list of employees. We need to call employee repository for getting the list of all the employees. So for calling the employee repository, we need to call this class first, employee repository class, in our employee service class. So for that we will give AutoWire employee repository. Let's give a variable name. We can use the employee repository and its methods. The employee repository dot find all. So find all, what it does, it is a method available in the Zapier repository. It will give all the list of employee, and let's return it. So we have got list of all the employees in this employee variable. Now we should use a controller for calling this method. So for that we should make a new package. Let's name this package as a controller. In this controller package we will create a class, and let's name it as employee controller. Employee controller. So this class is a controller class, and I want to make it as a REST controller class, so that we will get the objects in the form of a JSON response. So @REST controller, and in this controller we should give a method which will call the actual service. We already have the list of employees available here. We just have to call this method in our controller. It will return this employee. For that, first we need to call our employee service in this class. For that we need to give AutoWire using this employee service. We will make a call the method available in our employee service class, get all employees. That method we have created manually, and that we have called it here, and this will return us the list of objects. But as this is a controller, we have to provide a mapping so that we can call it from our browser. So for that we need to give request mapping, and let's say this request mapping is mapped to all employees. So when we click on all employees, or when we pass all employees in our URL, it should give us list of all the employees. But before that, let's configure our MySQL with our application. For configuring our MySQL with our application, we must provide the configurations in application.properties. So in application.properties, we need to provide some of the configuration related things, that are spring.datasource.url, so all these things we need to provide. So URL for connecting to a MySQL database, and this should be the name of your schema. So our schema name in this case is static tables, all small. Static tables. Our username is root, password is root. Then our driver class name is not necessary. The Spring Boot will do it automatically for ourselves, but for later use we will need it, so we will keep it. Just comment it out. Now let's run our application and see if everything is working fine. if everything works fine, we will get the output. Let's see it. So for running the application, let's go to run and run as a Spring Boot application. So we have got some errors. Let's see what it is. So friends, there seems to be some problem with the version of Spring that I am using. Let me change the version of Spring from pom.xml. So currently the version which I am using is 2.0.2. Let me change it to 1.5.9 dot release. Let's save it. Let me update the project once. Now the project is updated. Let's run and check it. So now the project is running fine at Tomcat 8080 this port. So let's test our application. Type localhost 8080 and what is the mapping that we have given to our controller class, all employees. Copy it, paste it. Let's hit enter. Let's see the result. So as you can see, we have got the result in the form of a JSON objects. You might be getting in a raw form like this, as I have the latest version of browser installed, so I'm getting a JSON response as well. So this is the, so you can see it's the same table, ID, first name, last name and salary. Let's go and verify it from the database. So ID is 1, Daenerys, sorry, we have to look into the employee table. So the ID is 1, Daenerys Targaryen, $25,000. This is correct, it is displaying correct results. Verify how many results are here. Last one is 99. Here as well, last ID is 99. So it's perfectly working fine. We have got the list of employees by this method, and we want to save this employee into a different database that we will see in the next video. Thanks for watching.